So the Brummies worked out that I'd worked out modern management theory. So they were finding a woman with a laptop because you can't aggress against women biologically. So the fact that a woman has a laptop in Birmingham and sent an email absolved Birmingham from any responsibility to call police when the managing director announced that we were a quote-unquote anti-racist city, which of course is using the language of critical race theory in the university that houses David Gilbourne, when various crits were caught by me and my colleagues from 2020 onwards, and the whistleblowing process needed to change after we caught an assistant director in 2020. So several years on, this woman is still trying this kind of stuff because they thought they'd shut me up and the problem had gone away. But if you're not a moron and you realise that equity, quote unquote, isn't actually real, then you can't shut up because they're breaking the law. You can't offer your employees sort of commie magic beans that don't exist because you have to engage in appropriate labour relations, which doesn't involve dishonesty, does it, morons? So the fact that you can't actually run the local authority without sending both to council staff on a sort of World of Illusions theme park ride where they try to find the equity in the public body during the day, while people are paying their taxes to let Bones to Council staff go on the search for the magic substance of equity that doesn't actually exist. It's so easy on an individual level to sort this stuff out, but of course, as soon as you start pointing it out, Corby versus ACAS, Cobbold Neal versus Lloyds Bank, case law, who cares? We're in Birmingham, we're obviously totally corrupt, so the polling station aggression is not a surprise to me. But this is the current state of Edinburgh. So I can't go anywhere near Fred. Again, there's a large ring of steel around the guy, so my thought is being stymied, unfortunately, even at this late stage. But again, the Brummies just don't get it, do they? It was always about will, and the will turns into representation because it's physics. Yeah. So ultimately, a lot of life is about energy. The will to life is just humans sort of bouncing around in sort of usually sort of random patterns. So my teeth is falling out. Thanks, Brummies. But we sort of bounce around, fulfilling our primate needs because we're just sort of monkeys, really. But human organisations are aware of this, so the Platonists and their mercenary armies have been trying this kind of stuff forever. But of course, they don't work because the mercenaries turn on them. So this is why John Cotton's lost his seat. It's just that Cotton went along with equity for temporal power, power in the moment. And of course, because Cotton forgot that God isn't dead and God is eternal, now he's lost his seat, hasn't he? In that city, where he's not going to be popular, is he? But it's a bit more than that, because again, John Cotton would oversee Birmingham's housing, but the local authority still has to obey the law. So if the guys in the rent service are saying, well, we can't run a quote-unquote anti-racist rent service because that would be breaking the law, and Birmingham Labour are threatening you because it's a quote-unquote cabinet action plan, and our tenants are getting attacked, then John Cotton's going to jail, isn't he? It's not really a hard inference to make. You can't use that ideology in public bodies because it's known to be dangerous. And it was dangerous, wasn't it? So why does John Cotton think he's going to escape prosecution? Why does the managing director think she's going to escape prosecution? They're not, are they? But Birmingham thought that they had a grip on power, that Birmingham Labour would never fall apart, and now they have fallen apart, so investigators can go in and interview John Cotton under caution, can't they? And look at Birmingham Labour's records. Because Nikki Brennan is apparently still involved with the housing, but we've never spoken to this woman. So, I don't know. But anyway, this will go off into the database as soon as I press upload, because we're going to shell Birmingham tomorrow, because they should be fetching police. They're still refusing, like idiots, because every day that goes by when you're not fetching police is another day when you personally in a bureaucracy are more likely to get arrested. So if this little idiot is now sending anonymous emails saying, well, we don't approve of this, nobody cares, idiot. I'm saying get police so they can find you as well, haul you away from your laptop into your into caution. Because when we're in regulatory compliance dealing with money, and I'm trying to report things under the serious misconduct policy, and you're sending anonymous emails, then nobody can take that seriously, are they? The person who sent in an anonymous email regarding an employment law matter, when you're refusing to call police or speak to a local solicitor's firm, you're just going to be removed from the organisation, aren't they? I mean, this is not a banana republic. You can't have people sending silly anonymous emails and running away and hiding behind a computer screen. It's not going to work, is it? Eventually a human will go into the office, say, sorry, who sent that? And the person will have to put their hand up and admit they did it. And then they would have to be clapped on the wrist and say, no, when this person is saying fetch a solicitor and police, you go and do that. You don't refuse. Right? So at some point, order will be restored to Birmingham's court service, so we can go back to work and oversee the department, follow the Equality Act. In the world of the laptop, this is what we do. Outside of the world of the laptop, we can point out to the rest of the country that Birmingham Labour was effectively growing an army to give them political power, but that hasn't really worked so well because Birmingham Labour are morons, and they've created a serious security problem for the rest of the country, which is now going to need to be resolved quite quickly before our guests realise they're not really welcome when the ban on halal comes in, that kind of stuff, and some of the people may not leave all that peacefully, hence security in Scotland. So again, if you think through influences from November till now, getting away from large groups of Muslims who were taking over corporate communications and attacking children after Southport, it was probably a sensible thing to do. So if you're so uncivilised that after a mass murder, that the EDI guy and the IT guy are going to the roof of Birmingham Library and promoting critical race theory-based literature to children, which would be illegal to teach them critically, then this is uncivilised, isn't it? That's the only word to describe it. So you can't really expect me to house people who behave like that. That would clearly be inappropriate if they were one of our tenants. So we're certainly not going to put up with it from the IT guy, managing director, the DDI guy, HR guys. That's totally inappropriate behaviour for a public body. So it falls into misconduct, doesn't it? But because of the level of violence from the Muslims, it's easier for this bureaucrat to send anonymous emails and not deal with the problem, because he'd have to deal with the Asian gangs who've been shutting people out of meetings, wouldn't he? So we'll send the email off tomorrow, but it just shows that the British state is totally broken down when it comes to Birmingham, and that any remaining British people there still need to effectively evacuate because it's a quote-unquote anti-racist city, and in a quote-unquote anti-racist city, the British are Kulaks.